All right. Okay, let's do this.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Uncut, a podcast where we get to talk to Hawaii's entrepreneurs, change makers, and creatives. You know, a lot of them are our friends, and we're so grateful that we get to talk to them and share their stories.
Yeah, and if you're watching us, you probably will notice that we're not in the studio right now. So I'm home on the Big Island, and Andrew's in the studio, but he's heading off to Italy to get married and have his dream wedding. So we're doing this remotely.
Yeah, I'll be gone for the month. I'm so stoked and, just to explore and just kind of get away. But we wanted to finish up the season for you guys. And so we have an exciting guest today. She's a well-known artist. You see her work everywhere. She's well-known for the Tita Bun. She's actually in a lot of the episodes, one of our favorite artists. And her name is Shar.
And
Punky
she's been
Aloha.
with us since day one on our background. So it was so cool to have her in the studio. And she's like sitting right in front of her. Art was behind her the whole time. So it was really cool. And it was really cool to hear her story. She talks about it not going the way that she planned and it taking a while and like having to go down a couple of different paths, but it all just worked out even better than she imagined, which is so cool.
Yeah. Shout out to Netflix. We kind of we talked about it afterwards, but we watched this movie called Look Both Ways, and it was like
I ended up watching it too.
Yeah, and like the whole time I was like talking to Shar, I was like, yo, I just watched this movie last night, and it was pretty much the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So kind of, not to spoil the movie or the podcast, but like Kolby was saying, there were two different paths, and she went down and whatnot, but everything pretty much worked out.
Yeah,
So,
she's killing it. You can find her work everywhere. I mean, she's collaborated with every big
Apple,
brand in Hawaii
Facebook,
and beyond.
Disney, Pixar. But yeah, what's cool is like she came back home and then it's like really supporting and showcasing local the culture here, and like what she talks about like painting, what her and her friends look like, and showcasing like that and the culture and just like in a colorful, vibrant way. So yeah, you can kind of tell. Very colorful and fun. Punky Aloha.
Yeah. Punky Aloha. All right, let's get into it.
All right, guys. We got Shar on today. We're so excited to have you and hear your story. And
thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We always I've admired your work forever, but then now when we're like looking at this angle, we're like, oh, Shar's work is like right behind there, front and center. So to have you in that seat is pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we met. We were trying to figure out when it was. I think it was like last year before the pandemic. It was a while ago.
It was after.
After?
Yeah.
Maybe after the pandemic, we did like a Toyota tribes project, and she was like the tribe leader of. Was it arts? Yeah, it was arts. And it was
Sounds
so
intense.
Fun. It was so fun to film. Yeah.
Tribe leader.
Yeah. So like Toyota did this whole campaign with each tribe, and Shar was one of the leaders, and we got to like film in her studio, and she gifted me that, and it's been on the wall since.
I know, and you've been with us since day one at Uncut. So.
Yeah. and you've been involved in so many different projects since then and all that, but so we want to take it back to the beginning, like your roots and like where you're from and like what kind of got you into art.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I guess that will take us all the way back to, when I was a little toddler. Because my mom was also an artist, or she was going to school over at WCC to study illustration, and she would take us with her to her classes. She didn't have anyone to watch us, so me and my siblings. Yeah. And her teacher, Snowden Hodgins, was awesome, and he would set us up with some paper and crayons, and we would just doodle away while they had art class. Yeah.
So you were a prodigy. You were going to art school when you were just a toddler.
You got classes for free.
Really, though. Yeah, so that's kind of how I started my art journey, I guess, really, and kind of looking at adults taking art very seriously. So I thought like, oh, this is a serious thing that we're doing here, you know? And I always looked at art as something I wanted to do. I always saw it as a viable future for myself.
Awesome.
And having a really supportive family was really nice. My mom always had art books around the house. She was always painting or drawing. So that's kind of where it really started. And then me growing up looking at comics and comic books, I wanted to do comic strips when I was a kid. I wanted to do like Calvin and Hobbes on the Far Side. And that's kind of where that spark came from, was like, I can draw pictures and tell a story that is phenomenal, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah, I remember growing up and reading the comics. I never read any part of the newspaper except for the comics. It was just it's kind of like a nostalgia thing. Yeah. Cool. So then you always knew you wanted to be an artist?
Yeah, I think that's where it started. I always had a sketchbook or notebook on me. So even in high school, I'm always like doodling my friends doing silly things or something, you know. And even when I went off to college, or my college, like when I first went to college, it was to go take some art classes at WCC. And the same art teacher was still there.
Oh, wow.
No way.
Yeah. So he ended up being my teacher and my mentor for a long time. It's a really, really good art program over at WCC. And he was really encouraging and just keep with it. So I did fine art over at WCC, and I also dove into digital art over at LCC. Started learning Photoshop and stuff, all kind of at the same time.
Oh, interesting. That's so cool how it was full circle with that teacher. Did you ever tell him, like, do you remember?
Oh, yeah. He's
He
like,
knows.
I told him, I was like, you taught my mom, Laura. He's like, oh my gosh, you guys used to come to our class.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so I totally remembered her. It was great.
Oh, that's awesome. And then so you talked about like that moment you realized like, whoa, you can like draw and like tell stories from it. You know, like what did you end up like doing with that thought? Like,
I
with
think
your art and the direction you're going into.
Yeah, well, I think that sort of went from like, you know, these sort of stagnant or single panel images even of telling stories visually, and jumped right into like animation, you know, and visual storytelling, visual development. And then I was like, this is the path I want, you know. I really want to be involved in this really important stories that are moving and vibrant. And that's kind of where I think a lot of like my aesthetic comes from, is that animation world of color. And that's sort of what it sort of evolved, I guess, over time.
Yeah. No, your prints really do. Like it looks a lot. They look alive. You know, it's like
Pops.
Yeah,
Color pop.
totally. So then once you graduated art schools, I guess?
Oh, right. So I went from WCC and studied there forever. And then I went off to the continent and studied at Laguna College of Art and Design. And that's where I got my bachelor's in illustration.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
Yeah. And that was sort of like geared towards visual development in the animation industry specifically. But I ended up having a baby with my partner, and we decided like, we want to raise our family back home in Hawaii. So we decided to like we're going to come back home and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But you were on the path to wanting to do like movies or
Yeah, I wanted to work for like a studio, an animation studio, and work on their visual development team, you know, designing environments and props and characters. You know what I mean? Like, I was like every illustrator in my art school, that was all of our dreams, to go, you know, work for like Pixar, Disney, or Leica or something.
Yeah.
You know, so I decided that, you know, family had to come first, and I said goodbye to that dream of mine, and just kind of trusted that, you know, my family would take care of me, Hawaii would take care of me, art would take care of me, and just came back home and started fresh.
Nice.
Yeah.
So was it when you got home Punky Aloha started, or
It
like,
took a while. Actually, it took a while.
what was that like little journey like, that moving home and like
Moving home and being completely lost, I felt like,
and you're going into a new chapter of your life too, being a
Being a
mom.
mom.
I had a baby. We had no money. We had nothing. I felt really like defeated at that point, because I was just like my entire life working this track and getting to art school and finishing, and then like to have to like say goodbye to what I thought was the track that I was supposed to take was really like heartbreaking.
Oh,
I
that's
felt
like a huge like saying goodbye to that dream
you're
almost.
You're like mourning that part of your life.
exactly. It was tough for me to swallow. I think I just sort of fell into a little bit of like depression, and you're a new mom, and you know you're living at your folks' house, and our family is big, so our homes are cramped, and you know you just feel like, what is my life? What have I done? You know?
Right.
And I think it just came to a point where it was just, we were like at the bottom, and it was like, you have to do something. You know, I have to really start making some changes and really believe in myself, believe in art, believe in everything I'd been working towards, and just trust it, and just explore this new life, this new world, and put it on the paper, put it on the screen, whatever. Just start to tell an honest story visually and see where it goes.
I love that. Yeah. So what were the first things that you would create after coming back home, after being a mom and being in that kind of like funk, I guess? Like what were some
slow transition? So, I mean, I was still, you know, pushing paints around and just like messing around with my watercolors and charcoal. And then my sister bought me like an iPad. Nice. I was like, whatever. This is way easier. It's cleaner than getting your paints out, you know? And then I just started playing around, and that really, I think just sitting with myself and thinking like how I want to draw how I want to feel. And I want to draw the world around me. I want to draw my culture. I want to draw Hawaii. I want to draw local culture. I want everything that makes me happy, which is Hawaii, and everything here, my family, the people. I just want to draw that, you know, that makes me feel good. So that's kind of what it started as. And it was sort of that coupled with me looking for work and thinking like, well, they don't have like big animation studios here, but they have like places that will hire graphic designers. And I took some graphic design, you know, maybe I can do that, you know? So I was creating this mock portfolio, right? Like a pretend portfolio with pretend professional work in it. So I was like just on my own, just like building like pretend websites and pretend logos and pretend business cards,
but not pretend. I mean, it was actually building an actual portfolio.
Right. Yeah. So I was doing that, and then I think some light bulb went off when I was doing all this really, really graphic work, and then it was sort of meshing its way into my illustration work, and then like the flat shapes and everything. I just really fell in love with that style of illustration, and then from there, I was like hooked, and I was like the happiest I'd been in so long, and like felt like, oh my gosh, like I was dreaming about it I was in my bed, just couldn't stop thinking about these images, and this whole new world of illustration opened up for me, and that doesn't happen very often, you know. So I mean, and I've stuck with it. It's still like every time I'm creating, I'm like, oh, I'm so in love with like just drawing. It's just so fun.
It's
you
amazing.
know?
I love that.
That is so amazing, and so like real and authentic to who you are and the way you see the world too. So was it like, so Punky Aloha, you started that
in 2018.
2018. Okay.
So that was that was kind of just started by just sitting around and doodling. And
so how long after you moved home did Punky Aloha start, or like that?
3 years, something like that. So it was 3 years of just being
Finding
stagnant and
and like
being a mess and sad and feeling sorry for myself. And
but a lot of people don't realize like that's such an important process of growth.
That is a really important part of people's stories, because if it's always like success and you don't really,
rainbow.
like you don't really appreciate the highs if you never experienced the lows.
I feel like my life has been a lot of that, just like periods of grief and messiness, and then like, oh, I don't like that, and then like finding your next step or the next level you need to be on. You know what I mean?
So
that's such
real
an
life.
amazing journey, and like that's life.
That
you
it
just gotta
really
how you
is.
get out of that little funk, you know?
Exactly.
And you did. So you started Punky Aloha, you started doing your illustrations and sharing it.
Where did the name come from? Punky Aloha.
So that was something that my partner, Kaylee, actually kind of suggested, because I was drawing, what I was drawing kind of what felt like that vibe, like this, like really like punky, describing the really fun, vibrant, and like, and kind of just bold and fresh, I guess, you know. And then Aloha really describing my values and the values of my business, you know, is always just about community and giving back and just building love around one another. That's something that's, I think, like at the centerpiece of what I do.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That is like the hard part of your journey created such a beautiful thing, and that you're still passionate about it. What were some of the first pieces that you created with Punky Aloha?
Oh my gosh. I think, well, like a lot of let me think. What were some of the first ones? We're really just, oh, that's right. I was like, I think I had come home from a day out around town, and I just remember coming home after seeing like what was out there, and I was just like, man, wouldn't it be cool like if we saw more, you know, Polynesian women out like on the, you know, doing really fun stuff, or just girls that look like my friends and look like me, and just a celebration of Hawaii. I just started drawing that. So it all started with just like girls with, you know, big tita buns and big glasses, and, you know, like just what me and my friends look like and act like. That was like
just
what
being
I was
really
trying
honest.
to capture. Yeah. Just wanted to try and capture that to feel like familiar, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would always see this one. When did you create this one right behind you? Because that one I see it everywhere.
Yes, it's my most popular one actually. So I had made a sister image, I guess you could say, of this one. That's named Ku'u. It's kind of based on one of my friends, and Manoa Chocolate had contacted me about working together. Right, they wanted me to use some of my artwork on their chocolate bars. I was like, that sounds amazing. You know what I mean? This was back in 2020. And I was just like super excited because, you know, they're a great company and they're everywhere. And I was like, you guys want to work with me? And they liked Ku'u. And I was like, okay, cool. But it has nothing to do with Lily Koi, you know? So I was like, let me just like put some stuff in her hair. Like make me like look like a flavor at least. And so, I kind of took that initial image and changed her face a little bit. And then I just thought, like, wouldn't it be fun just to have like Lily Koi just sitting in her hair? You know, why not?
Sitting in her hair. Oh, I love it.
The tita bun is so iconic. Like, that, I mean, and it's so cool. I was going to ask you how that came about, but it just came about, like, being honest. Like, just, like, you wanted to share your life and your friends and showcase Polynesian culture. And
That's it. That's it. Yeah. And, you know, I mean, my hair is humongous. So, I mean, like, I've always had it. It's always in a bun, or I'm just, like, dripping with sweat.
So it just came natural to just draw that, right?
Yeah.
I know it's probably a hard question to answer because, like, I'm sure you're going to say all of them are my favorite. But do you have any favorites?
Favorite art pieces? I don't think so.
Or,
honestly.
like, when you were creating, when you,
like,
in the process of creating, you're just, like, stoked on it.
Oh, you know what? I have one. I think it's called Ulu Mama, and this woman holding the ulus like they're her baby.
That one.
Yeah, I think ulu is just one of my most favorite. Was it a fruit? It's a fruit. It's a plantain, I think. Yeah.
Red fruit.
It's one of my favorites, and it's a big part of, like, you know, the Tongan culture. So like we call it me in Tonga. So and my dad loves it's just felt that like connection to it, you know.
Totally.
So that's probably one of my favorite ones. Like just a drawing. I don't know why you could get so much pleasure out of drawing.
No.
You know, a fruit, but it's
and
fun
that's
for
how
me.
you know you're passionate about something, you know, and you're sticking with it, and you're telling a story, like you said, you know, like through your art now. So it's like each piece has its own story, and like when you just describe that and how it made you think of like your dad loves it, and you know, like your culture, and like so it's a lot of deeper meaning to your art and all that.
Can you talk about like how Hawaii's really just like embraced your art and your style? And because you're saying 20
18.
2018. That's not like for the amount of success that you've had and like where your
That
art
was
is.
4 years ago, and then pandemic
Not that
years
much
too.
time.
Pandemic years. Yeah, you know what? I mean, like I said, like coming home and putting your trust in Hawaii, and that means also the community. That's the only reason I am where I am, is because when I started putting out artwork that felt familiar to me, it felt familiar to a lot of people too.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they were like, you know, people were coming and like crying to me, like, oh my God, it's the first time, you know, my daughters, they look just like my daughters, or it looks just like me. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's major.
that has me in tears, because I've never done anything that meant really anything to anybody other than myself. So like creating stuff that helps to build a community feels like, it just feels unreal. You know, it's great. My love for Hawaii, like knows no bounds. You know what I mean? And like the togetherness that everyone here feels, I think, with like all the different cultures that we have in Hawaii, and just how much I feel like we all really kind of go to bat for each other.
Yeah.
I mean, just beautiful stuff. You know?
Yeah. Nobody's really, I mean, I'm sure there's been other artists that have captured that kind of spirit and like acceptance of like what Hawaii girl would look like, but I feel like not in the way that you have able to do. And so I think that's why people are so stoked on it, you know? It's like, oh yeah,
So-
that's me, or that's my cousin, or that's, you know, like that's my tittabun. That's so awesome. What have been some like moments where you're just like, whoa, I made it?
Oh gosh.
Besides the Manoa chocolate.
Literally,
you worked on some amazing projects like
Yeah.
Hulu.
that was not Amazon.
Oh, Amazon.
I did
Yep,
Amazon.
Amazon. Oh, sorry, yep.
I've done work with Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook was the one. Yeah.
Wow.
Apple, Old Navy. I did a little campaign with them. I've done work with Disney. I'm doing a little more. I've got a couple more projects with Disney
that's
Oh
going
my
awesome.
on.
gosh.
You know, I mean, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
It
It's
never
like-
gets old.
It's like
You're
you're
saying-
back on the track.
I was
you
just
know,
gonna
and
say, you're
yeah.
saying Disney, and that
Yeah.
was like your original goal. Was like
Yeah, it's
to
like
be
a
with.
full circle
Oh my
moment.
gosh.
It's
Right.
like it didn't
That's
happen in that
so
timeline, but it's
crazy.
still happening, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it
I
took
mean-
you that time to come home and
Even having a children's
Yeah.
book, you know, for one of the
Yeah,
big 5
congratulations.
publishers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
Thank you. That's another like wild one that I thought like that. Okay, that's never happening, you know, for me, because that's just how people think. I
Yeah.
mean, I dream like in my secret dreams, you know what I mean? But it's hard to really think like, oh, these big things might not happen to me. You know, I'm just like, you know, out here in the middle of the ocean. I don't know, you know, if everything's but it happens for us every day. People in Hawaii doing big
there's
things
so much talent in Hawaii.
every day,
Yep.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
wild. It's incredible to see. It's like, you just like so proud of us, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
Super. Yeah. Can you tell us about some projects you have coming up that you
Excited about?
You know,
tell us about Disney?
I know, right? I wish I could. That's probably already saying too much, but there's things coming up that I'm really excited about that I can't quite talk about. But there is my second Punky Aloha book. There's like the sequel to the first book that came
nice.
out.
Oh, awesome.
Sequel, but it's
Yeah,
her
yeah.
again. You know?
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
still on
yeah.
her adventures.
Yeah.
Cute.
So that's coming out in 2024. I'm illustrating another book for HarperCollins for this other woman who's doing a really beautiful book about Hawaii. And I got another Fulan collaboration
Nice.
coming out.
Yeah,
You know, it's
yeah,
one of my
yeah.
favorites. So like
Uh-huh.
that's always like working for the big ones out there, but then also working for what I consider to be the big ones out here, or not even just the big businesses out here, but also like the really meaningful projects out here is, I think, what really kind of keeps me going and keeps me really in love with what I'm doing, is
Nice.
working on projects at home with the people that I love, that I understand. We speak the same language, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so amazing because like you live out here and you're doing so many projects like worldwide and you know these big name projects, but then you're also working with these local businesses and like things that you're connected to, and this is home, you know.
Yeah. Those are the ones that matter the
Yeah,
most. You know,
yeah.
those are the people you see at the store.
Yep,
You know, those
yep,
are the
yeah.
people you come across every day and you talk to
Yeah.
every day, who, you know, your lives affect each other. So those are the ones that really matter.
Yeah. Do you have trouble figuring out like which projects to say yes to? Because I imagine you get hit up by everybody to like collaborate and work. And
Yeah, that's super, super hard. I'm actually learning just now. I feel like this year is the year of Shar learning how to set boundaries.
Yeah, how to say no.
Yeah, because when you're coming up and you're trying to get work and you're trying to stay afloat and you're trying to pay your bills, you say yes to everything, right? It doesn't matter what it is. I said yes to absolutely everything. And I think that's great advice for when you are starting out and trying to like figure out what your perspective is or what your direction is, or even if you're just trying to figure out how to be a better illustrator or whatever your trade or art is. It's good to just take things on and learn, you know, but at some point it becomes like it starts to mess with you. At some point
there's like a balance.
It's a balance, but like I think for a lot of people and like myself, when you're coming from less than like when you're coming from a place where you didn't have any money and you're like living on welfare, then you're kind of desperate to not be there anymore because it's hard. It's not easy, you know. It's wonderful to have that help, but it's not easy, you know. So trying to like stay away from that struggle is real. So you're constantly saying yes, 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 because you just think, in my mind, I'm always like, this project might be the last project I ever get. So I got to take it because, you know, that's so breaking out of that survival mentality that's what I'm doing this year. You know, it's hard. It doesn't come naturally.
It doesn't. The power of saying no, it's such a big thing.
It's huge, but learning that and like just now, like giving myself some space. Like I'm coming out of this burnout. Like I just recently was just like, whoa, I'm burnt out. I'm creatively bankrupt right now. Like so like deadlines were missing, and it's just like, I just need to stop for a second and like go for a walk and like, you know, and
give
then really
some time.
You have to reevaluate, and you have to like kind of put yourself up there on your priority list, because if you aren't available to create, if you're not available to work, then that's, you know, what good is that? Of anybody, you know?
Well, and that's like a real trauma that people experience. Like, even if you look at like the generations before us, say like our grandparents that lived through like the Great Depression, like look how they, even when they were successful and they owned so much, like they were still super frugal. I know my, like my families, and like we're still like coming out of that, but it's like, it's a big trauma.
That's, I mean, it just, that you grow up with that, right? Like the save everything, save the jar. You never know when you're gonna need the jar.
Rainy day fund.
And I think that comes from something. Even, you know, my partner's grandma, she's almost 100 years old.
Wow.
Frugal woman. Like she doesn't waste nothing. You know what I mean?
It's super rooted in our culture too. Like,
and it's good. You don't want to be wasteful,
right?
But you don't want to live in survival mode either. That's just too much stress.
Too much. No, too much stress. So you're learning how to put boundaries on your time.
Still not doing good, but I'm working on it.
Hey, but this is like realizing and like taking the steps to do it.
I think what I've done now is like, because again, like our community is filled with so much talent, and I'm so fortunate to be friends with some of these other artists now. When people are like, can you do this job, I've got a list
like,
of illustrators, like, and I'm like, here, you can try them, here's their websites, like these are great options, you know, just so like, so especially if it's a company coming from the continent that's a bigger company, that if I can't do it, at least somebody here can, you know what I mean?
You're like also like bringing exposure to all these other artists, and
not that they even need it, but you know, I think if we're all doing that for each other, you know,
I think that's like the beautiful thing in Hawaii. It's like everybody supports each other.
Community over competition.
100%. That's what I'm feeling like with my friends, where it's just like, oh, you're doing this, like, you know, go for it. That's amazing. And I think that it's better than being competitive with each other. I mean, like a healthy sense of competition, maybe with your own self, but like with your friends, your peers and stuff, we should be lifting each other up.
100%. What are some other ways, like, you know, like for someone experiencing like kind of what you just talked about, like what are some steps that you kind of like are taking for yourself to kind of just like take a step back and think like, oh, am I gonna take this project or not? You know.
Like when I'm thinking about it, well, first of all, of course, I'm looking at like, do I have the time to do it? And then secondly, like I'm thinking like, am I the best person for this, or I'm the only one you know? You know what I mean? 'Cause, like sometimes I'm like, this is like, I know what you're asking for, but I know someone who's like 100% the best person for this.
Right.
And then also thinking like, okay, sometimes you have to look at like, the heart, is this something my heart really wants to do?
Yeah.
I'll do it even if you don't have, you know, a big budget. Or sometimes like I'm like, oh, if my heart doesn't want to do it and your budget is tiny, then it's sometimes you have to look at logistics, I think.
Yeah, you have to.
You know, but I think I'm guided a lot by like what my heart wants
Your
to do.
Intuition.
And that's just me. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people, if that's the smartest thing to do, but in order for me to keep going, I have to be happy with what I'm doing. So that's my biggest thing now, is like, I'm only gonna say yes if it's something my heart wants to do.
I love that. Yeah, because you're trusting your guide, like you're trusting your intuition, and it's like it's not gonna guide you to the wrong decision.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, I mean, I think we all should be doing that, honestly. Just like kind of check in, and because you're saying, like they might not even have the budget like fully, but then if it feels right, then,
I've been known to do it. I mean, that happens all the time too. But I think that's a big part of maybe like when I'm thinking like, okay, I've done a few big projects for these people, that allows me to take on these heart projects where I'm just donating artwork, you know, or you know what I mean?
But
like it's a balance.
Fills your cup, like makes your heart happy.
And this makes me happy. This pays the bills. This makes me really happy though, you know.
I think especially for creators, like you need to have that super like passionate relationship with your work almost to be do the work that you're
people are expecting you to do. You can tell if you're not totally happy doing it. I've been stuck on projects for like weeks at a time just because I'm just like, I haven't found a way to connect to it yet. But once you find it, then you just like fly through it. I think that's the way creativity works.
100%. I know. I always tell people like, we gotta be in the zone. You know, like you're like, why? Like my wife's always like, why aren't you editing right now? I'm like, you gotta be in the zone. You know? Like, once I connect, though, I'm like, boom, I got it done.
Exactly.
That's so cool. Have you ever had, like, how do you push through that? Like, I'm sure we've all had to do projects that we just weren't feeling it, but it's like already paid or whatever the case is. Like, how do you, like, get yourself in the zone?
I think I just kind of repeat to myself that it's not going to draw itself, and it's not, you're not going to solve anything by not doing it. You know, just sometimes you just have to push through it and make a bunch of mistakes, kind of scribble your way through it. And eventually a great idea will pop up or a connection will pop up. But sitting there and doing nothing or ignoring it isn't gonna help.
No. Yep. We've been there.
That's a big one.
Go on a walk, but I mean, come back to it. You know?
Yeah. Sometimes a little movement helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So a big thing about our podcast, we talk about like the entrepreneurial journey and like, you know, growing up, you know, you probably think about art and everything, but I'm sure like, you know, in 2018 when you started Punky Aloha, now you're realizing it's also a business, right? And you're like running things, and like, so how's that been on that side of things? Like managing your own business?
Oh man, it's been a journey. It's been a learning journey. You know what I mean?
That's like a whole nother part of it.
Yeah.
The art side and then the business
There's
side.
the art side, and it's like a lot of the times it's like you do art 10% of the time and 90% of it is,
totally. We say that all the time.
And that is that's a common theme, and that is that's just the way it is when you are first, you know, starting or if you don't have any way to get any help or anything. That's what it is. And that's almost every small business that I know is like, that's what you do. You run your own social media, you answer all your own emails, you know,
fulfill your own orders.
You're doing your own accounting. All of that, it's
taking out your own trash.
Exactly. I mean, even for, you know, Punky Aloha on the shop side of things, right? Because I have a shop where I sell merchandise. Forever it was me, you know, packaging and like attaching the images to the mat and doing all of that all on my own, dropping off everything, fulfilling orders. That was me. And then I had help from my partner. He works a regular, full 8-hour job and come home from work, and he's in there, fulfilling orders for me while I'm trying to do other work. And then my mom, she was a retired nurse, and she was like, I'll do it. I'm not doing anything. I'll package your prints. I was like, okay, great. Yeah. Okay, so I have a little help with that. And then it relieves, Keali'i a little bit, but he's still there helping me on murals.
Oh my God.
And then my mom moved to Vegas, and I was like, oh my God. But then I think by now this year, I finally have learned to ask for help. I have this really, really wonderful woman, Kanakolu. She does a million things. She also runs this Indigenous women's incubator business startup thing called Kukolu. Anyway, so
awesome.
she's got a space in Kaneohe. That's where all my prints are, and she's just offered to help me. She's like,
wow,
we're gonna help you run your shop. You can house it here at Kukolu, and she helps me with my calendar,
awesome.
And she's always reminding me to be kind to myself, so. Eventually on the journey, you have to learn to ask for help at some point,
Yeah.
or it's just gonna bring you down, and with that help, then you can take on more stuff.
Yeah. It's a big shift though when you're used to doing something everything yourself, and then having to hand things off. Okay, well, don't forget to package it this way.
The trust. You have to trust
me. That's a huge thing for me. Learning to let go a little bit, because like anyone else, like any creative or business owner, there's a little bit of a control freak in you. So, and you feel like no one else can do it as good as me, or no one else loves it the way I love it. So let me show you exactly how it's done.
That's the common theme in every small business starting up. It's how to let go, but then also letting go is opening the opportunity for growth. And
it's been
trusting someone to help you run your business.
Yeah, exactly. And finding people that you trust. I guess that's the big thing, right?
That's one part that we love too. It's when you trust somebody and they actually rise up to the occasion, sometimes even be better than how you do it. It's oh dang, why did I wait so long?
Exactly. I think a lot of it is just believing in yourself enough to think I'm at a place where I need help, and there might be people out there who want to help you.
True.
Yeah, it's trusting in your community.
That's so awesome. So you mentioned a couple of projects coming up. Is there anything else you want to promote or plug?
No,
she's stop asking me to share. I'm not supposed to share.
I think as always we're coming up on the holiday season, so of course look out for different projects that might be dropping, and also for the Punky Aloha store. Get your gifts on.
And
then and just little things dropping here. I just wish I could say.
No, it's all good. We're good. Everyone just stay tuned, and it's gonna be exciting. We're all excited.
We are all excited.
One more thing before we end, I know we talked a lot about different things, but one advice for someone just starting, and maybe if they're in a creative funk, or something what do you advise some of our listeners?
I think my best advice, and I don't know if this sounds silly or is overplayed, but I really believe that you have to believe in yourself. You believe in yourself enough to know that every time you're sitting down to draw, or you're sitting down to write, or whatever it is that you're doing, know that that is time well spent. That you deserve to give yourself that time. If you want to kind of make it out there, you have to put in the time. So, if you want to be an illustrator, draw. If you want to be a writer, write. Love what you're doing and give your space and the permission to do that.
That's amazing.
That. So good.
Thank you so much for sharing.
We love your work. We love cheering you on, supporting you, sharing about you, and just congratulations on all of your amazing success.
For our listeners that may not know you too well, how can they find you, your shop,
Oh, yep. punkyaloha.com is my website, my shop, and you can follow me on social at Punky Aloha.
Nice.
Nice.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us and like sharing your story and all your advice.
I know, such good energy coming
Yeah.
from you.
So
Yeah.
stoked. Thank
Yeah.
you guys for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Thank you, everyone.